Here we go. All right, well, greetings everyone. We're going to continue with chapter 15 of Side by Side. This is book number 1. Book number 1. So we're going to be talking about reviewing past tense, regular verbs, and introduction to irregular verbs. We had discussed that when we talk about regular verbs, they're the verbs that have the basic changes that end with ed. Like, for example, if you say walk, walked, that will be the past. So they don't have any root changes in the actual words. So we're going to discuss past actions and activities, ailments, describe an event, and making a doctor's appointment. So this is going to be important for you, as sometimes in life we get sick, and if you get sick, you want to know how to express that to the doctor. So let's continue on. So I'm going to read it out loud. Please repeat after me and look at the picture so you can match the word with the picture. Here we go. First one. Headache. Repeat, please.
Headache.
Very good. Stomach ache.
Stomach ache.
Very good. And you want to make sure at the end you have this ache. That ache is dolor. Dolor de diente, toothache. Dolor de espalda, back ache. Okay? You could also say back pain. Okay? Which has to do with the dolor también, se refiere al dolor. Here we go. So you have toothache. Repeat after me.
Toothache.
And don't forget, the TH comes right between your teeth. Toothache. Very good. Number 4. Backache.
Backache.
Number 5. Earache.
Earache.
Good. Number 6. Cold.
Cold.
So make sure you sound that L, round it out. Cold.
Cold.
Yep, and now a little faster. Cold.
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 Number 7. Fever.
Fever.
Fever. Number 8. Cough.
Cough.
So this GH sounds like the letter F. So you say cough.
Cough.
And number 9, sore throat.
Sore throat.
Very good. So the sore throat is when your throat is hurting. Okay? So how do you feel today? Repeat after me. How do you feel today?
How do you feel today?
Not so good.
Not so good.
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
I have a headache.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
All right, so we're going to do this exercise together. Make this a little bigger. There we go. Number 1.
How do you feel today? Not so good. What's the matter? I have a stomach ache. I'm sorry to hear that.
Excellent. Can you do number 2, Milton, please?
How do you feel today? Not so good. What's the matter? I have a toothache. I'm sorry to hear that.
Excellent. Number 3.
How do you feel today? Not so good. What's the matter? I have a backache. I'm sorry to hear that.
All right, do one more, Milton, number 4, and then we finish.
How do you feel today? Not so good. What's the matter? I have a earthquake. I'm sorry to hear that.
Excellent. So everybody else at home, complete number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. Okay?
Okay.
So this has to do with how to say it when you're saying how you feel. So we're going to look at some phrases. So how do you feel today? Repeat after me.
How do you feel today?
I feel great.
I feel great.
I feel fine.
I feel fine.
I feel okay.
I feel okay.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm glad to hear that.
Okay, so this is what happens. When somebody asks you, how do you feel today? These are 3 possible options. Now let's look at the options. If we look at order, it will go in this order. 1, 2, and 3. 3 being the best. Okay, that's the biggest, the most positive. Okay? So how do you feel today? I feel okay. Okay means that you are not extremely happy, but everything is working out the way it needs to. Okay? Things are working out. So let's look at the other side. How do you feel today? These are other choices. So. Not so good. I feel terrible. So repeat after me, Milton. How do you feel today?
How do you feel today?
So.
So.
Not so good.
Not so good.
I feel terrible.
I feel terrible.
I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry to hear that.
So now we compare from positive to negative. In the positive area, we have the word glad. In the negative area, we have the word sorry, which in Spanish would be lamento oír eso. Okay? So we said that when you talk about positive, 1, 2, 3, this is the best one. Over here in the side that is not positive, a little bit of the negative side, we have so, which in Spanish would be así, which is not necessarily too common in Spanish, but sometimes people use it. And then this will be number 2, not so good. So it's not the worst, peor, no es lo peor. This would be, I feel terrible. So that would be number 3. Okay, let's continue on. All right, what did you do yesterday? So we are now going to look at the phrases that we can use to discuss what we have done today and what we have done in the past as well. So let's look at some examples. I work.
I work.
Every day.
Every day.
Now, when we are using the past tense, what did you do yesterday? We think about the past. So let's look over here really quickly. This is important. So let me stop sharing so you can see this, and I'll close this. so you can see the board. So when you, when I, and when we are using different verb tenses, so let's say this is a timeline. This is the present tense. Can you see that, Milton?
Yes.
Good. So this is the present. This here is the future. And over here, this is the past. But I want to explain something so we don't get confused with the other past tense that we had discussed that could take place. So I'll show you in a second. So the past happened right there. Let's say that's an example. It happened at that moment. Okay? So it did not last for a period of time. So if you say, for example, if you say, I walked 3 miles, that means that over here is when you reached 3 miles. That's it, I'm done. Now, if you say, while I was walking 3 miles, I fell. That means that from the moment it began to the moment it ended, something happened here in between. Does that make sense, Milton? ¿Me entendió, Milton?
Yes, teacher. O sea, entiendo que el pasado del que estamos hablando es de ese pasado que ocurrió puntualmente. O sea, no algo que está pasando o estuvo pasando, sino que pasó y ya.
Correcto, y ese es el punto para que no se me vayan a confundir con lo que habíamos hablado anteriormente, porque ya hablamos de lo que es el progresivo, ¿ok? Y lo que es el gerundio, el ando y el yendo. Así que tengamos cuidado con eso, pero buen repaso. Here we go. So let's continue on. Share again. Just to make sure we understand. Here we go. So when you're using the past tense, you need to make sure that these are all considered regular verbs. So you add the ed, and ed. However, in the pronunciation, you are going to have different ending sounds. And that's what we're looking at here. So listen to this. I worked yesterday. So when you say that out loud, repeat after me. Worked.
Work.
So for those that have trouble, it's almost like they're saying worked. Worked.
Work.
Very good. Worked. All right, so let's do the next one. I play the piano every day. Now listen to this. I played the piano yesterday. I played the piano yesterday. So let me hear you say played.
Played. I played the piano yesterday.
Excellent. And the last one. I rest every day. I rested yesterday. I rested yesterday. So a lot of these pronunciations are going to be repetitive when you have a word that ends with T, for instance, you're going to often hear it. When you have a Y, played, you're going to hear that very often. And also worked, you have a word that ends with the letter K. For example, when you're going to park your car, you would say, I parked and I worked today. All right. So what did you do yesterday? I worked. All right, Milton. So this one here, Milton, I want you to do them because we're going to go through them so you can practice them, because this is a review to see if you remember the different tenses. So here we go. I will ask you the question and then you answer. So you're going to start with number 1. All right, Milton. What did you do yesterday?
I cooked.
Very good. Cooked. Excellent. Number 2. What did you do yesterday?
I washed my car.
Very good. I washed my car. And it sounds like a T, okay? So that's why it's there. Number 3, Milton. What did you do yesterday?
I fixed my bicycle.
I fixed my bicycle. Very good. Number 4.
I brushed my teeth.
Okay, now remember, when you have the TH, you have to do the sound. Teeth.
Teeth.
Teeth. Very good.
Teeth. Brush my teeth.
Good. All right, number 5. What did you do yesterday?
I watched TV.
Excellent pronunciation. Number 6. What did you do yesterday?
I typed. I
Okay.
typed. I
Look over
typed.
here. Remember the sound? Letter T. So what is it going to sound like at the end? I typed.
Type.
I typed.
I typed.
Good. Number 7. What did you do yesterday?
I danced. I danced.
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 And you can feel free to make that T sound. Danced.
Danced.
Okay, number 8. What did you do yesterday?
I baked.
Bake.
Baked.
Excellent. All right. Let's continue on. This is good practice for you. And everyone that will watch the video is good practice. So make sure you repeat it over and over and over, okay? Now,
Okay.
we are moving on to the D sound, which means that when you conjugate these verbs, you're going to make sure they have that D sound at the end. So I will do number 9 and then Milton continue. So, what did you do yesterday? I cleaned. That's the answer. So here we go. Milton, number 10. What did you do yesterday?
I played the piano.
Excellent. Number 11. Milton, what did you do yesterday?
I don't remember pronunciation. I yawned. Yawned.
Remember the Y is pronounced yeah. Yawn.
Yawned.
Good. Number 12. What did you do yesterday?
I listened to music.
Excellent. Everybody should be repeating. Don't just listen to Milton. Make sure you're repeating. I listened to music. Okay, number 13. What did he do yesterday?
I shaved.
Okay, yesterday I shaved. Very good. Why did I do yesterday?
I smiled.
Good. But what happened with the S? I, mouth closed, smiled.
Smiled.
Very good. Number 15. What did I do yesterday?
I cried.
Okay, so we're gonna do number 16. What did you do yesterday?
I studied.
Okay, so what happens, Milton? What happens when you say the letter S in the beginning of a sentence? You have to sound it out. Studied. Studied. So, this is a quick review. When you have a verb that ends with a Y, when you're going to turn it into, this is closer, when you're going to turn it into the past tense, we have the word cry, and we have the word study, right? To change it into the past tense, you are going to proceed to change the letter Y to an I-E. No letter Y anymore. You don't use the letter Y. Okay? You're going to replace the letter Y with the letters I-E. So the word would be cried.
Cried.
Cried. And this word would be
Studied. Studied. Studied.
studied.
Studied.
Studied.
Studied.
Good. Do you understand, or you have any questions?
No, no question, teacher. I don't have question. I understand.
Excellent. All right, let's continue.
I understood.
Beautiful, and that's the past tense. And let me ask you a question, Milton, now that you said that. Is that a regular verb or an irregular verb that you use? Understood.
Is an irregular verb.
Excellent. Which they're coming up shortly, so we gotta get them down. Here we go. So now we got cried and we got studied. Now we move to the final sound, ID. Here we go. What did I do yesterday? Number 17. I shouted.
Shouted. I shouted. Shouted.
Okay. So let me stop presenting because I want to show you this, because I want to make sure that you don't get confused. So we have the sound for the T, and I have shown you before that in Spanish we use the word pero, right? That R sound for pero is the one you're going to use for shouted. So we have the word shout. The past tense is going to be shouted, it is pronounced shouted. Y este shout, el de decir silencio. Shouted. Shouted.
Shouted.
Okay.
Shouted.
Si usted escucha a una persona decir shouted, no es que esté incorrecto. Shouted is not incorrect. But in New Jersey, we tend to say shouted. Shouted is used in places like England, Inglaterra, Gran Bretaña. Por decir, puede escuchar ese acento. Okay? So that's a good thing to know because you're going to see it coming up again. All right, so I'm going to do it again. What did I do yesterday? I shouted. Let me hear you, everyone. Shouted.
I shouted.
Very good. All right, number 18, Milton. What did I do yesterday?
I rested.
Rested. Very good with the T. Rested. Number 19. What did I do yesterday?
I planted flowers.
Excellent. Number 20. What did I do yesterday?
I waited for the bus.
Excellent pronunciation. Waited. Continue on. What's the matter? Well, review. This is a simple review. Okay? We have I'm not sharing. Hold on, let me share. We have the present tense and we have the past tense. As a review, with the present tense, I, we, you, and they use the same verb. In this case, the example is work. So the verb stays in the root form. But when you're using third person, he, she, or it, you are going to add the S or the ES depending. Works every day. So that is just a review. We did that already. Now look at what happens. In the past tense, every pronoun uses worked. It's always the same. You don't change the word. So that's easier because you don't have to do any changes. So repeat after me. How does David feel?
How does David feel?
Not so good.
Not so good.
What's the matter?
What's the matter?
He has a backache.
He has a backache.
A backache?
A backache?
How did he get it?
How did he get it?
He played basketball all day.
He played basketball all day.
Very good. So let's look at the examples. You could also change it too. If you want, all morning, all afternoon, all evening, or all night. Okay? So I will do the first one, and then you can try the second one, Milton. How does Brian feel? Not so good. What's the matter? He has a sore throat. A sore throat? How did he get it? He was talking all morning. That's it. Okay? So here we go, Milton, number 2.
A moment, please, teacher. Ese es backache. Okay. How does Linda feel? Not so good. What's the matter? She has a backache. A backache? How did she get it? She danced all night.
Danced. Repeat, Milton. Danced.
Danced.
That's the one that ends with like the T sound. So she danced all night. Excellent. Number 3, Milton. And you could do 2 more.
How does no? How do you feel?
Excellent.
Not so good. What's the matter? I have a headache.
Headache. Headache.
Headache.
Okay.
Headache. I have a headache. A headache? How did you get it?
Excellent.
I studied English all day.
I studied English all day. That's good. Do 1 more.
How does Gary feel? Not so good. What's the matter? He has a earache. A earache? How did he get it? He listened music all afternoon.
Okay. So he listened.
Listened.
Very good. All right. So here we have what happened to her. What did she do all day? What's the verb, Milton?
She has.
She cried. Oh, let's see. This one is actually, what's the matter? She has
sore throat.
It could be sore throat, or she's hot. She may have a fever. And we could look over here, some of the examples. Watch TV, fever, okay. And then number 6, touching the throat. Charlie was yelling all day. And because he was yelling, now his throat hurts. So he has a sore throat. How about number 7? What happened in number 7?
How does Mrs. Clark feel? Not so good. What's the matter? She has a headache.
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 So you're saying ache.
Headache. Headache.
Excellent. All right, what happened number 8? The dog was barking, so you have
earache.
Earache, very good. And he was planting all day. What does he have?
Backache.
Ache. Very good. All right, this is important. Let's look at these words. Irregular verbs. Okay? I eat today. Yesterday, I ate.
Eight.
I sing today. Yesterday, I sang. I drink today. Yesterday, I drank. I sit today. Yesterday, I sat. I write today. Yesterday, I rode. Rode. So, let's do some of these examples. So, how does Daniel feel? How does Daniel feel? Number 10. Not good. What's the matter? He has
toothache.
He, what's the verb? Él comió. He.
How did, excuse me, teacher.
Yes.
How did he get it? He ate candy all morning.
Excellent. He ate candy all morning. All right, let's do number 11, Milton. You go to number 11 and 12. Here's number 11. How does Jennifer feel?
How does Jennifer feel? Not so good. What's the matter? She has a sore throat. Sore throat?
Yes.
A sore throat? How did she get it? She sang all night.
She sang all night. Very good. And number 12, the last one for you. This one is with you. So, how do you feel?
How do you feel? Not so good. What's the matter? I have toothache. See, toothache?
This one? Toothache, yes?
Toothache. A toothache? How did you get it? I drank soda all day.
Excellent. All right, so at home, you guys can do this one. Okay, Sarah has a, what does she have? She has a
backache. Backache.
What does she have?
Stomach ache.
Stomach ache. And what does he have?
Backache.
Backache. Here we go. So role play, do you want to make an appointment? This is what a doctor's appointment conversation would look like. So, you don't feel very well today, call the doctor's office and make an appointment. So I'm going to give you an example, and then Milton, you could give me an example, and then everybody at home watching the video, you can create your own example. You call the phone, Ring, ring, ring. Doctor's office. Hello, this is John. John Miller. Hello, Mr. Miller. How are you? Not so good. I'm sorry to hear that. What seems to be the problem? I
Have
ate
no.
candy all day yesterday. And now I have a terrible stomach ache. I see. Do you want to make an appointment? Yes, please. Can you come in tomorrow at 7 o'clock? At 7 o'clock? Yes, that's fine. Thank you. All right, Milton, your turn. Let me hear you.
Excuse me, teacher. Do you need that I do this exercise with other words?
Yes. Just use,
Okay.
I made up an example in my imagination. I said John Miller, so you can make up a name and then answer them with that name.
Okay. I am going to try.
Sounds good.
Hello. This is Milton. Hello, Mr. Milton. How are you? Not so good. I'm sorry to hear that. What seems to be the problem? I sang
Good. I sang.
all day yesterday,
Excellent.
and now I have a terrible puede ser sore throat.
Sore throat. Very good.
Sore throat. I see. Do you want to make an appointment? Yes, please. Can you come in tomorrow at 5 o'clock? At 5 o'clock? Yes, that's fine. Thank you.
Excellent. Good job. So you can practice different scenarios at home. And as you practice the different scenarios, you'll be learning and practicing conjugating the verbs. So we go back here again, and you will use regular verbs, and you will use the irregular verbs. So don't forget to study the irregular verbs. Let's continue on. So now we're going to do a reading. This is the Wilson's party. So I am going to read it first, and then you're going to repeat. Make sure you enunciate. Listen to the pronunciation and try to repeat it as close as you can. Also, listen to the rhythm and the speed and try to pronounce it exactly the same way, okay? So repeat after me. The Wilson's party.
The Wilson's party.
Mr. and Mrs. Wilson invited all their friends and neighbors to a party last night. Your turn.
Mr. and Mrs. Wilson invited all their friends and neighbors to a party last night.
Excellent. They stayed home all day yesterday and prepared for the party.
They stayed home all day yesterday and prepared for the party.
Good. In the morning, the Wilsons worked outside.
In the morning, the Wilsons worked outside.
Their daughter Margaret cleaned the yard.
Their daughter Margaret cleaned the yard.
Their son Bob painted the fence.
Their son Bob painted the fence.
Mr. and Mrs. Wilson planted flowers in the garden, and Mr. Wilson fixed their broken front steps. Let me hear you.
Mr. Wilson planted flowers in the garden, and Mr. Wilson fixed their broken front steps.
All right, so remember, this is Mrs.
Mrs.
And
Okay.
the word here is fixed.
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 Excellent. Let's continue on. In the afternoon, the Wilsons worked inside the house. Repeat.
In the afternoon, the Wilsons worked inside the house.
Margaret washed the floors and vacuumed the living room carpet. Repeat.
Margaret washed the floors and vacuumed and cleaning vacuum the living room carpet.
Excellent. Bob dusted the furniture and cleaned the basement.
Bob dusted the furniture and cleaned the basement.
Excellent. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson stayed in the kitchen all afternoon.
Mr. and Mrs. Wilson stayed in the kitchen all afternoon.
Excellent. All right, let's see if this helps to read. There we go. He cooked spaghetti for dinner, and she baked apple pies for dessert.
He cooked spaghetti for dinner, and she baked apple pies for dessert.
Excellent. The Wilsons finished all their work at 6 o'clock.
The Wilsons finished all their work at 6 o'clock.
Excellent. Their house looked beautiful inside and out.
Their house looked beautiful inside and out.
Excellent. All right, let's continue on.
I'm here, guys. Hi.
Hi, how are you doing, Jenny?
Good. How are you?
Good. Jenny, we're recording the class, okay?
Okay.
Hello, Jenny.
Hi. How are you?
Fine, thank you. How are you?
Good.
I am glad.
So, Jenny, we're repeating the phrases. Here we go. The Wilsons guests arrived at about 7:30.
The Wilsons get arrived at about 7:30.
After they arrived, they all sat in the living room.
After they arrived, they all sat in the living room.
Excellent. They ate cheese and crackers, drank lemonade, and talked.
They ate cheese and crackers drank lemonade, and talked.
Excellent. Some people talked about their children.
Some people talk about their children.
Excellent. Other people talked about the weather.
Other people
talk about the weather.
The weather.
Excellent. And everybody talked about how beautiful the Wilson's house looked inside out.
Other people talk, and everyone talk about how beautiful the Wilson house look inside and out.
Very good. The Wilsons served dinner at 9.
The Wilsons served
dinner
in the dining room at 9 o'clock.
At 9. So
at 9.
The word is served. Served.
Served.
All right, let's continue. Everybody enjoyed the meal very much.
Everybody enjoyed the meal very much.
Excellent. They liked Mr. Wilson's spaghetti and they loved Mrs. Wilson's apple pie.
They like Mr. Wilson's spaghetti and they love Mrs. Wilson's apple pie.
In fact, everybody asked for seconds.
In fact,
everybody asked for seconds.
All right, but you cheated because I couldn't hear you say this word here. Let me hear you say that. Asked.
Asked.
So Jenny, you have to say ask. So look, it looks like this. Let me stop sharing. Let's go over here. When you're going to pronounce it, it's going to sound like this. Ask. So ask. But you have to sound the K and you have to sound the T.
Asked. No. Asked.
So look, there is an E there, but you can't hear it. You don't say ask it, not ask it. Asked. So write this down so you can practice. You have to practice that with your pronunciation. Asked. Very good. You're getting there.
Asked.
Keep practicing that.
Asked. As.
All right, that's good. That was a good job pronouncing, everyone. Let's continue on. Here we go. Repeat after me. After dinner, everybody sat in the living room. Again.
After dinner, everybody sat in the living room again.
First, Bob Wilson played the piano and his sister Margaret sang.
First, Bob Wilson played the piano
and
his sister Margaret sang.
Then Mr. and Mrs. Wilson showed a video of their trip to Hawaii.
Then Mr. and Mrs. Wilson showed
a video
of their trip to Hawaii.
Okay, remember, when you're pronouncing, right over here, so it stays here and you can see it. When you're pronouncing the letter B, you have to use your top teeth and your bottom lip. Good. Video. Es el diente de arriba y el labio de abajo. Video. Okay?
Video.
Very good.
Video.
After that, they turned on the music and everybody danced.
After that, they turned on the music and everybody danced.
Excellent. There we go. As you can see, the Wilsons' guests enjoyed the party very much.
As you can see, the Wilson guests enjoyed the party very much.
Very good. And the last one. In fact, nobody wanted to go home.
In fact,
nobody wanted to go home.
Hold on one second. Be careful. This doesn't say, this is what some of you said this. Some of you said, nobody want to go home. That's not what it says. It says, nobody wanted. Nobody wanted to go home. All right? Excellent. So, at home, well, we could do it now. We have time. Here we go. Let's do question number 1. Milton, what did Margaret and Bob Wilson do in the morning? So let's go back. What did they do in the morning?
Mr. and Mrs. Wilson invited all their friends to your repeat. Mr. and Mrs. Wilson invited all their friends and neighbors to a party last night.
That's good.
No,
this is. Well, hold on. Let's look at the question. The question says, "What did Margaret and Bob Wilson do in the morning?"
Okay. The
Okay, no más TV.
Mrs. Wilson, Mr. Wilson and Mrs. Wilson work outside.
Excellent. It says here that they worked in the afternoon, they worked inside, but it says here, in the morning, the Wilsons worked outside. So let me mark this here so we have it. They worked outside. Very good.
A teacher.
Yes.
Bueno, it's good say the family Wilson were doing cleaning in the yard.
Okay, so you wouldn't say the family Wilson, you would say the Wilson family. Let's write it down.
Okay.
You would say
the Wilson family.
The Wilson family were, now you said doing cleaning. That's what you said?
Yes.
One. They were cleaning. That would be good. They were cleaning.
Limpiando, sí. Were cleaning.
Their yard, right?
Their yard. Okay.
That's good. All right. Let's see, Jenny. Number 2. Let me find this so you can see it. All right. How did Mr. and Mrs. Wilson prepare for the party in the afternoon? How did they prepare for the party in the afternoon? So now this question has various answers. So how
in the afternoon, the Wilson worked inside the house. Margaret watched the floor and vacuumed the living room carpet. No.
So they, what did they
plant flowers.
They washed the floors and
vacuum the living room carpet.
Dusted the furniture.
And cleaned the basement.
Cleaned
the basement.
And what else?
Mr. and Mrs. Wilson stayed in the kitchen all afternoon.
So they also stayed in the kitchen. And what else?
He cooked spaghetti for dinner and she baked apple pies for dessert.
Excellent. That's a long answer.
Yes.
All right. Let's continue on. Number 3. When did the guest arrive?
The Wilson gets arrived at about 7:30.
Excellent. They arrived at about 7:30. Number 4. Where did the guests sit after they arrived? Jenny, do you see it? Where did they all sit when they all?
They all sat in the living room.
Excellent. Number 5. What did they eat and drink before dinner?
They eat cheese and crackers, drank lemonade.
Excellent. The cheese and crackers and drank lemonade. Number 6. What did Margaret do after dinner? Jenny, what did Margaret do after dinner? We have here the paragraph. After dinner. Where do we see Margaret? What did Margaret do? Margaret? Margaret sang. Okay? And number 6, Milton. No, number 7. What did Mr. and Mrs. Wilson do after dinner?
Buenas tardes,
One moment, please, teacher.
What did they do?
They showed a video of their trip to Hawaii.
Excellent. Remember, video.
Video.
So we're done with this. All right. We're going to do this. Get a pencil so you can write the answer. I am going to read a word to you. You're going to select the correct one. You're going to choose letter A or letter B. Listen carefully. Here we go. Are you ready?
Yes.
Good. Number 1. Listen to the sentence. We plant flowers in our garden in the spring. Which one is it?
B.
A?
B, teacher.
Milton, which one is it?
Teacher, can you repeat, please?
I'm going to say it again. Listen carefully. We
Okay,
plant
okay,
flowers in our garden in the spring. I'll say it one more time.
No,
We plant flowers in our garden in the spring. A or B?
I don't sure, but I choose B.
All right. The answer is A. Now, let's review the sound. Let's review the pronunciation. Plant.
Plant.
You can hear the T, plant. This one is planted.
Oh, okay.
Planted. I'm going to read it again so you can hear it. We plant flowers in our garden in the spring. All right, let's do number 2. I worked at the office all day. I'll say it again. I worked at the office all day. Is it A or B? A or B?
For me, it's B, teacher.
That is correct. Number 3. They studied English all morning. They studied English all morning. A or B?
B again.
Excellent. Number 4. Mr. and Mrs. Jones sit in their living room all day. Mr. and Mrs. Jones sit in their living room all day? A or B?
A.
Hey, yo pensé que tenía el micrófono prendido.
Wrong. Very good. Number 5. They drank lemonade all summer.
B.
B.
Excellent. Number 6. I waited for the bus all morning.
Say again.
I waited for the bus all morning.
B.
B.
Excellent. Remember, this one is wait. This is waited. All right, number 7. They finished their work at 5 o'clock. They
B.
finished their work at 5 o'clock.
B.
Repeat, please, teacher.
They finish their work at 5 o'clock.
A.
A is correct.
Oh,
This
okay.
one is pronounced finished. So I would have to say they finished their work, but I said they finish. You gotta hear that. Finish their work.
Finish
The other
their
one,
work.
they finish. You know, it's like cut. Number 8. We invited our friends to the tea party. We invited our friends to the tea party. A or B?
Say again,
B.
teacher.
We invited our friends to the tea party.
B.
B.
Very good. Number 9. I eat cheese and crackers.
A.
Very good. Number 10. She cleaned her apartment all afternoon. She cleaned her apartment all afternoon.
B.
That is correct. Number 11. We wash our clothes at the laundromat.
A.
Very good. And the last one. He watched TV all evening.
B.
Watched TV all evening.
A. I think it's A.
B.
Okay, so he watched all evening. Pero como es durante toda la tarde, no podría ser esta. Okay? Because we're talking about what happened in the past. So hear it again, listen. He watched.
Watch.
Watched. He
Watch.
TV all evening. Excellent. So tell about a party you enjoyed. What did you drink? What did people do at the party? So I'm going to ask you. Let's see, Milton. Tell me about a party that you enjoyed. What did you eat, Milton? What did you eat at that party? Remember the verb.
I eat.
What is the past tense of eat?
A.
I ate fish with mushroom
Excellent.
and drank wine,
Okay.
red wine. and drank red wine.
Good. And what did people do at the party?
They dance. They dance.
Danced.
Dance. Dance. Talk
Que se escuche esa.
about their business.
Danced. Que se escuche esa, Jenny. Danced.
Dance.
Good. All right. We just finished. This is just a review. So, we are not going to do this. You can use this as a review because we already did this. But for example, we have an example here. Cleaned. Cleaned.
Cleaned.
Then we have painted. Painted.
Painting.
Painted.
Painted.
How about the one that sounds like a T? Remember?
Okay.
Talk.
Paint. Talk.
Talk.
All right, so you got to do this by yourself. Follow the exercises and you can fill that out. So repeat after me. Listen very, very carefully. I cooked, I cleaned, and I dusted.
I cooked. I cleaned. I cleaned, and I dusted.
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 All right, but let me hear everybody. I'm going to say it one more time and let's repeat it. Repeat right after me, okay? I go first. I cooked.
I cooked.
And
I
I
cleaned.
dusted.
And dusting.
Dusted.
Dusting.
Dusted.
Did. Dusted.
Dusted.
Dusting.
Okay. Everybody repeat. Go. I cooked.
cooked.
I cleaned.
I
I
cleaned.
cleaned.
And I dusted.
And I dusted.
Good. Let's repeat the next one. I worked.
I worked.
¿Fuiste para allá?
I played.
I played.
I played.
I planted flowers.
I planted
I
flowers.
planted flowers.
Planted.
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 Okay, good. All right, repeat after me this other one. I typed.
I
I
typed.
typed.
I studied.
I
I
studied.
studied.
And I painted.
And I
And
painted.
I painted.
I talked.
I
I
talked.
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 Good. I cried.
I
I
cried.
cried.
And I shouted.
And I
And I
shouted.
shouted.
Excellent. All right. So this is the vocabulary for review. Let's practice. Here we go. I worked yesterday. Repeat.
I
I
worked
worked
yesterday.
A
yesterday.
little faster, a little faster. He worked yesterday.
He worked
Worked
yesterday.
yesterday.
He worked yesterday.
She worked
She
yesterday.
worked yesterday.
Worked yesterday.
It
It
worked
worked yesterday.
yesterday.
We worked yesterday.
We
We
worked
worked
yesterday.
yesterday.
You worked yesterday.
We
You
worked
worked
yesterday.
yesterday.
They worked yesterday.
They
worked
worked yesterday.
yesterday.
All right. We have the three different sounds. I worked. I danced. Right? That makes the T sound. I cleaned. I played. And this other sound, the ID. I rested. I shouted.
Shouting.
And we did this in regular verbs. This is in present tense. I eat. Yesterday, I ate. I drink. Yesterday, I
Drunk.
I ride. Yesterday, I rode.
Road.
I sing. Yesterday, I
Sang.
sang. I sit. Yesterday, I sat. And some of the expressions that we talked about, ailments, okay? Repeat after me. Backache.
Backache.
Cold.
Backache.
Cold.
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 Y un cold es, sabemos que cold es de frío, pero en este caso es un resfriado. Cough.
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 Earache.
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 Fever.
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 Headache.
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 Sore throat.
Sore throat.
Stomach ache.
Stomach ache.
Stomach ache.
Stomach. No tiene che. Esa che no se escucha, Jenny. Stomach ache. No menciona la che.
Stomach ache.
Stomach
No,
ache.
como si tuviera acá. No che. Stomach.
Stomach.
No. Stomach.
Stomach ache. Stomach
Acá.
ache.
Stomach ache.
Stomach
Stomach.
ache.
Stomach ache.
Pero no escuché la acá, Jenny.
Stomach ache.
¿Está pronunciando la acá?
Stomach ache.
Ahí está llegando.
Stomach ache. Stomach ache.
Más o menos, más o menos.
Toothache.
Toothache.
And then we
Two
come
face.
asking, how are you? How do you feel today? And what's the matter? I feel great. Repeat. I feel great.
I feel
I
great.
feel great.
I feel fine.
I feel fine.
I feel okay.
I feel okay.
Okay.
So.
So.
Not
So,
Not
not
so
so
good.
good.
I feel terrible.
I feel terrible.
All right. Well,
All right.
we are done with chapter 15. I will stop recording. Remember to complete the exercises from the workbook. Thank you, everyone.